my opinion, this organization, AU, is doing what it can do within the mandate it is given and the resource it is availed to it. So in a relative term, if we look at it where we were 70 years ago, then the progress we have made is significant. That gives a lot of hope to push even further in terms of performance. If we look at it from where we should be, of course we can be disappointed. But you work in Africa, this is an African organization, and if you're disappointed by or you consider 40%, 50% performance is not a performance, then it is everything will be lost. As such, that the reason why I said perspective is important. And the question whether OAU is performing well or not is dependent from which commanding heights are you looking at? Are you measuring the performance? And in my opinion, if we look at it from an anti-apartheid, anti-colonialism struggle, and now in terms of peacekeeping, we have advanced significantly that now almost in Africa we have more than 100,000 peacekeeping troops. By itself, it may not be indicator of progress, because the fact that you have a lot of troops in Africa indicates that the peace and security issue is problematic. But I think we have progressed a lot. This is the international aspect. So the international intervention has made it very difficult for the local actors, the countries themselves, the local traditional systems, for the regional economic communities to act themselves by themselves, for themselves. They cannot fund for that. And that is a big challenge, in my opinion. That international actors are crowding the space for Africans to deal with their own problems. The idea or the ideal of African solutions to African problem becomes difficult, partly because there are African problems, but some of them are not African problems even if they are in Africa. They are international problems. And we become, if you wish, the grass on which these two big powers fight each other. So we have to avoid, that is one part of the problem we are facing. The second one is the nature of the state that we have. Our states are preying on their own population. People use state for personal purpose. Public offices are used for private affairs. The nature of the state by itself, if you want me to describe it in a short term or few words, African states are right from the beginning strong on the wrong functions. They are strong on palace security. They are strong on regime security. They are strong on their own clan or tribe, political tribe security. While they are strong on the wrong functions, they are weak on the right functions. They are weak on education. They are weak on transport. They are weak on infrastructure. They are weak on poverty reduction. They are weak in revenue generation and collection. They are weak almost on electricity, water, and so on, which are the most important functions of state. These are legitimately expected services from state. Anyone living in a state should have that right. Now, this is a difficulty that Africa has been facing since the liberation movement. Once the liberation movement has turned themselves into dictators. And as a result, they use state monopoly of violence, state power for private sector, private affairs. They are used as a racket for amassing wealth if you are in position, in office. And this nature of state has to change. Different actors, non-state actors in Africa. States are a result of a society. They don't operate in vacuum. They are a result of political mobilization. They are a result of social mobilization. They are a result of economic forces. So you cannot change the state without changing first the fundamentals, the ground, the substructure. The building we are sitting now has substructure. If the substructure was not strong enough, it cannot carry this. So we cannot look on the superficial state of nature without looking what is forming the substructure. What is internally the decisive actors that are playing in this regard. And for that reason, the focus on the nature of political forces, on the nature of social forces, economic forces, will be important. Most of our political parties we have, most of our private sector we have, most of our religious institutions and movements are self-serving. They don't go to public activity for the sake of the public in general. It's for their own. That is the reverse in many other countries. We know in other countries it's completely different, that you lose money in campaigning, actually, to come to office. You don't gain a lot of money. In our case, you go to politics to gain money, not to lose, basically. And it shows that the political forces are also mobilizations on unhealthy factors, platforms, electoral platforms, issues. They are political forces are mobilization on religion, which are not democratic. This is emotional. Religion is inflammable. You can raise people. And that mobilization is not a democratic mobilization because you will immediately it's not issue-based. It's not issue-based. It's phase. For this reason, African Union cannot act without the member states. It's a coming together of member states. Whatever they stretch, the hands that the member states stretch, it can stretch that far. Of course, there are a lot of things to be improved in the AU system also, but they are limited. Actually, it's a reflection of Africa. It's a reflection of the member states. So if the member states are willing to make it more effective in peace and security, if they want to change the peace and security in the landscape, they can easily change.
Thanks for watching, and share this video with friends and family to support the channel.